Voidborn Mythology by Axel Hellstrand. Episode 6.
The Last Hunt.
Our elders always taught us at a young age that there would be a time when we had to stand our ground and fight. But this was not the time. The only advantage that I had in this fight was my speed and agility. But none of this would come to use in this cramped cave. The monster was about to turn me to ash and bone with his fiery breath. The only thing I could do was to escape, and so I did. I crammed myself through tight caverns, and the fire of the monster hunted me down like some ravenous wolf spider. If I had just missed one step, I would surely be burned. When I escaped the horrid cave, I dashed through a waterfall and caught my breath. The wrathful roar of the monster shook the entire cave. Suddenly, a slam just as powerful as the thunder itself could be heard. The entrance to the cave was broken apart, and a dust cloud was formed, and the huge silhouette of the monster could be seen in the cloud. The monster walked through the dust, but it stopped and began to hesitate when it got too close to the waterfall. When we both laid eyes on each other, the monster gave out another thunderous roar and began to beat on his muscular chest. And dashed through the waterfall. It was only a few meters away from me and was ready to strike me down, but suddenly the crimson beast fell to the ground, and a harpoon was launched into the back of his skull. Atop on the waterfall stood my saviors, Sealgair and Moore.
Nice shot, Moore.
The 4-meter beast lied lifeless in front of me. It seemed that the monster was finally slain. There could be no way that the monster had survived that shot. But I still didn't want to take any chances. I took a large and heavy rock from the ground in order to kill it for a second time. As I was about to squash its head, the monster opened its golden eye. Its crimson hand grabbed me by the leg and threw me back to the waterfall, and I hit my head on the stone wall of the cave. The monster got up on his feet, blindingly quickly, and dashed through the waterfall. He grabbed me by the throat, and the monster opened his jaws, which was slowly catching fire.
Oh, the monster went under the waterfall.
No problem, you just have to sing for him.
A terrible, ear-piercing scream could be heard. The scream was even too much for the monster to handle, and he covered his internal ears. He let go of my throat, and when I was back on the ground, I tried to slip by him and strike him in the back. It completely failed, and I was kicked in the back. The kick itself felt like being hit by a bumblebee poison. The strike was so strong that I flew meters away and fell down the mountain. I managed to hit every tree way down, and the last tree knocked me out cold. Hours later, I awakened, and the once clear sky was covered with grey clouds. My face was covered with blood, and I found myself in a dark forest, covered with dead trees. My eyesight was blurry, and I could hear no sound except for a ringing sound that echoed through my entire head. My sight slowly came back, and so did my hearing, and with it I heard a pained plea.
Guardian.
I slowly and stumbling got up and started to make my way towards the sound and its source. To my shock, I saw Sealgair on the ground, and his belly was pierced by the harpoon. If that wasn't enough, his leg was broken and twisted, and so were his wings. His arm and the rest of the body seemed to be in decent shape. I picked him up from the moss-covered ground and held him in my arms. Sealgair, what happened to you?
Well, it seems that our prey is a platinum winner at spear throwing.
It seems your humor has not left you yet. Well, it's time to bring out that harpoon of yours.
Don't! If you do it, there will be a bloody fountain.
But Sealgair, you must remove it at some point. It can't stay there forever.
I will remove it when we find your healer friend of yours.
River? Did you know what happened to him? And more?
They are probably fine. We Skyborns are no pessimists.
I looked at the sky into the horizon for a sign of a puff of emerald smoke, but there was no sign of river or more. I began to fear the worst. Were they all savagely mauled by the beast? If so, I had led them to their death, and it was my fault. My thought of fear and regret was interrupted by joyful exclamation.
Look! There's the smoke signal!
Where? I can't see it. We Manthans had superior smell and hearing than most other species of the egg, but sight was not one of them.
It is right there. No worries, you can trust me. We just have to arrive at the Yuan forest.
I could not see the clouds, but Sealgair might as well have done it. Skyborns were after all famous for having splendid sight. The Yuan forest? But it takes like 1/4 of a day to travel there. By foot? How in the gods?
No worries, you're a guardian after all. You could just teleport us there. It would only take seconds, right? You can teleport, right?
I always dreaded when people asked me if I could teleport or not. I never had it easy at the halls of wisdom. I was clearly the worst student, and most teachers' least favorite student. I was a cub who preferred to fight rather to read a book of a world that did not longer exist. Of all the tests that I had to do in the Hall of Wisdom, the teleport test was clearly the most difficult one. Creating a wormhole was a confusing mess by itself, but actually knowing that you would teleport to the right place was a problem by its own. I had failed so many times and accidentally teleported to the strangest parts of the egg. I once traveled to the White Wasteland, also known as the prison of the Frostbones, and the Burning Land, also known as the Land of the Monsters.
Well, you actually see that I failed the teleport test several times. Never bothered to take another test. Sorry, lad.
I am so dead right now.
Huh? Didn't you say that Skyborns were no pessimists? You don't have to worry. I'm quite fast for having such a heavy build.
Well, I ain't have any other choice than to trust you, Guardian.
You are gonna survive. I promise you.
I put Sealgair on my shoulder, and he would watch my back. We proceeded to travel through the infamous withering woods at a decent pace. Most Skyborns found these woods to be haunting and terrifying, because it was covered by dead trees and a heavy mist. But there was nothing to be afraid of. No predators could be found, since there was nothing to hunt in these barren woods.
Guardian?
I have a name, you know.
Well, what is your name then?
Well, my name is Neart Frostpaw.
Neart, you say? That name reminds me of Neart Ironpaw.
Yes, lads. I share the same name with that legendary figure.
That's pretty cool, being named after a legendary hero.
Definitely a point of pride.
Well, anyways, Neart, how significant are your clothes for you?
Really important. These leaf clothes was given by my father, and his father before him. Why are you asking, lad?
Well, I am bleeding all over your clothes.
It's fine.
We finally left the withering woods behind us and began to travel through a green, lush forest. It was quite common here on the island of Fiskmarsheim. Even though Sealgair was slowly dying, there was still much life left in the lad. Hours upon end he would sing. Skyborns are different from the other species for many reasons. They did not simply sing songs, but they create entire musical scores with the only use of their voice.
What are you singing, lad?
This song is called The Last Hunt.
The Last Hunt? I have never heard of that song before.
Well, it is about a hunter's long streak and how it all comes to an end. It just felt appropriate for the situation I'm currently in.
No! You'll be fine. And survive until you become a crippled old man who... Oh! By the kings and queens!
In front of us lay the dead southern manticore, Manticores had the appearance of a great feline, but the tail of a scorpion. The beast was covered by a thin layer of fur, as black as obsidian, and the stinger of the beast was the shape of a hook. The beast was muscular, stocky, and compared to the other subspecies of manticore, the legs were shorter and more compact. A useful trait for a semi-aquatic animal. This was no hunter of the land, but rather a hunter of the sea.
What is it?
There is a bloody dead manticore on the ground.
So what's the big deal?
It is not the dead manticore I fear, but rather what killed the manticore.
Maybe it's just a hunter who killed it.
No, there is no sign of arrows or spears. The manticore's stomach is cut open, and its body is broken. No, this was not done by a hunter. There are damages clearly made by something big and fierce, most likely killed by some great beast.
That doesn't sound too good.
We don't have any other choice than to proceed forward. Shymu's getting very near to you, lad.
We walked deeper into the green forest, and there I found something that I thought was long gone on the island of Fiskmasheim.
Oh my gods!
What did you see?
In Fiskmasheim, we called this creature caraboos. These creatures were once normal plants and trees that learned to walk. Just like other plants, they did not need any food to survive. The only thing they need is the light and water to survive. They also planted themselves into the earth when they rested. Over the ages, their appearances changed and began to look similar to creatures of the ancient world. These tree calves looked similar to infant bears. They looked like they were carved out of wood and given life to. They were deeply planted into earth and slept like newborns.
I thought their kind was extinct on Fiskmasheim.
Apparently not. Oh gosh, they're so adorable. But why are they all alone? Where is their mother?
There she is! Run!
I turned quickly around, and there was a furious female caribou, which was almost as big as me. She was blindingly fast and aimed her great antlers at us. I tried to dodge her, but she was too quick and pushed us down the hill. The impact of her strike made me drop Sealgair, and I managed to hit some rocks on my way down. My knee was barely damaged, and it was certainly a struggle to get up on my feet. I thought she would leave us after she had pushed us down, but oh no. She was determined to kill us. She wanted to protect her calves at all costs. She ran down the steep hill to finish us off. I stood up and gave out a great roar, and I shouted,
You there! You don't get any closer! You hear me?
She ignored my warning and proceeded to strike me down. I didn't have any other choice than to stand my ground. It wouldn't be an easy fight with my bad knee of mine, but I didn't have any other choice in the matter. I extracted my claws and was ready to strike when she got close to me. Instinctively, I did something unforgivable. I was planning to freeze her with my frozen breath. In that moment, I was desperate and determined to protect Sealgair. I opened my jaw, and the transparent and lavender-colored soul left the body of the mother and flew into my mouth. Her entire body turned frostbitten, and her body fell down the hill lifeless. I had sucked her soul clean off. I had just killed a mother. If that wasn't bad enough, I had killed an almost extinct species. I had soul devoured her. The most horrible thing a frostborn can do. If anyone found out that I had done this horrendous crime, I would surely be thrown into the white wasteland. My terrible realization was interrupted by the pained scream of Sealgair.
Remove the harpoon!
But, Sealgair, you told me not to pull out the harpoon.
Just remove the cursed thing!
I did follow the command of the wounded Fiskboss and pulled out the twisted harpoon from his stomach. Seconds later, blood spewed out of his stomach, and our clothes got covered in his blood. I took off my cape and wrapped it around Sealgair to stop the bleeding. The once energetic and lively Fiskboss was now as quiet as the afterlife. He breathed heavily, and his eyes was barely opened.
If I die before we meet up with the hermit, I want to say that I'm sorry.
Sorry for calling him a slime scan?
No, it goes deeper than that. We Fiskmasters have treated them ill for so long, since there has been a struggle of who Fiskmasheim really belongs to. We stole their lands and brought so many of their tribes to extinction. Now when Shymu stands so close by my side and the joy of Cassine has abandoned me, I realize how ashamed I am of my father and the fathers before him. We Skyborns are not artists and philosophers. We are crooks and criminals.
Shut your beak! Everything's gonna be fine, you hear me?
I'm not so sure about that.
Don't you dare! Don't do that to me! Sealgair was tying my arms, and I would not allow it. I began to run like a feral maniac. Even though my bad knee was badly wounded, I ignored all pain and only focused on saving the life of my Fiskmoss friend. I ran for 2 hours straight with no break, and drops of blood ran down my damaged knee. The exhaustion had worsened my sight, but in the distance I could see the blurry silhouettes of moor and the river. I began to limp my way towards the camp. My thick fur was drenched in sweat, and I could hardly breathe.
Oh, look, River! There's the Guardian! And Sealgair!
I was welcomed by the old amphibian with open arms.
Neart. Oh, it warms me to see you alive.
You don't have time with that! You have to save him, River!
Oh, no. Take it easy. I will heal him.
I laid Sealgair carefully on the ground. The exhaustion had finally caught up with me. And I fell to the grass-covered ground. I closed my amethyst eyes, and everything turned to blackness. River had released a great sigh, and I hastily woke up. I looked around, and I saw River sitting beside the almost dead body of Sealgair. I just took one glance at his huge eye, and from that I knew something terrible had happened. The same huge eye also projected sadness and grief. Bottles and herbs were spread around the ground. Moore sat beside the old amphibian and looked into his one eye and asked,
Sealgair, is he?
I could not save the bird. Lost too much blood. Body torn to grave injuries.
Is he?
Old River tried awkwardly to comfort the grieving bird by patting him on his feathered head.
I am so sorry, bird. But the other bird is not yet dead. But life is quickly fading and leaving broken body.
Moore tried to constrain his grief and sat beside his dying friend.
Moore, I'm gonna die.
I know.
Can you do one last request for me, best friend?
Yes, of course.
Could you sing the last hunt for me?
I can't do it. I'm more tone deaf than a reptile.
I don't care. I just want to hear it one last time.
All right.
Moore may not have been as talented singer as Sealgair, and the singing was as rough as the sand that covered the great deserts of this world. The song still had heart, and it would be impossible even for the most stern not to cry.
That wasn't so bad.
Sealgair. Sealgair. No.
I rose up from the ground and tried to comfort the grieving Moore with a big hug.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Moore. I was not fast enough to save him.
Baruk's sun was slowly going down, and the darkness of Shymu would rise. It was time to take farewell of our ally and give him a proper funeral. Moore insisted that he alone would take care of his best friend's funeral. He wrapped Sealgair's body with colorful fabric. Before Moore wrapped his head, he gave him a kiss on Sealgair's head. Moore decorated the corpse with beautiful flowers and plants. He carried Sealgair and flew to the highest tree. He put him carefully on one of the branches of the tree. As he was doing it, he sang the last hunt once again.
What is bird doing with
Sealgair.
Oh yes. Why put him in a tree? Why not put him in water or underground? So he can be used to create new life.
Being high up is an important aspect of the culture, River. And burying them underground is a very indecent thing to do to a Skyborn.
As the funeral was over, the night had come, and the lavender soul of Sealgair left his physical form. His astral form flew to me and looked at the ground utter shame. I knew what had to be done. It was my task as a guardian to deliver him to the afterlife. I limped closer to the tiny soul and put forward my paw.
Sealgair, it's time for you to grab my paw, and I will lead you to the afterlife.
Sealgair hesitated at first and gave a sudden look to his beloved friend that could not longer see him.
More.
He finally grabbed my paw with his tiny hand, and we flew from the egg beyond the sky, and we finally reached the great afterlife. It was at this moment I realized how uncannily quiet he was. This was not the nature of the chatterbox that was Sealgair. Far in the distance stood hundreds upon hundreds of Fiskma's souls, and they were waving at us. Once again, I heard the mysterious voice inside my head.
Thank you, Neart.
Now Sealgair can reunite with his ancestors.
I knew for certain that this would be the last time that I would see Sealgair, and I decided to take farewell of my feathered companion. I guess this is where we part ways with each other. It was brief, but it was nice knowing you, Sealgair. His back was turned to me, and he did not respond. Sealgair? He still didn't respond, but he took uncertain steps
towards his ancestors. Sealgair! Sealgair! I grew worried and put my paw at his tiny shoulder. Sealgair put away my paw and turned quickly around. He was furious, and his eyes looked as if they were burning. Tears of anger ran down his astral body. He opened his beak and spat upon me. His astral spit ran down my head. Why? Why? He yet again ignored me, and he flew to the distance, never to be seen again. I was shocked to my core. I had never seen Sealgair so mad before, and it was almost more frightening than the monster itself. He didn't tell me what I had done wrong. What did I do wrong? I tried to do the right thing, but I was only punished for it. Yet another failure in a long series of failures. It was too much even to handle, and I began uncontrollably to cry like a newborn cub. I had finished my deliverance, and it was time to return to my allies.
Neart, what is it?
It was nothing. The last drop of sorrow fell to the ground, and I had no more tears to shed. My tears was instead replaced by a burning anger. I had almost died trying to protect that worthless ball of feathers. Did I get any thank you for saving him? Oh no, he spat at me. I did care for him and saw him as a friend, but now I hated him as much as the monster. I would show that cursed Skyborn and all others that have doubted me that I am no failure. I would not fail my hunt, and I would slaughter that crimson beast if it was the last thing I would do.
But I saw you cry.
And I stutter. Take your things. It's time to finish our hunt.
To be continued.